We now move to, the case of depression. Depression is quite a mental illness, that is marked by a persistent feeling of sadness, loss of interest, activity, and feelings of hopelessness and worthlessness.
You're very correct. Now, childhood depression is different from the normal blues and everyday emotions that occur as a child develops.
Joining us to discuss this is Pamela Udoka, a clinical psychologist and a lead therapist at the Family Wellness Psychological Center, where she supports couples and families and develop and maintain mutually enriching and satisfying relationships. Thanks for joining us, Pamela. How can you maintain mutually enriching and satisfying relationships with the hustle and bustle of today? How can you maintain that?
Thank you for having me. We have to always find a balance. There's something we call family life balance, family work balance.
Work-life balance?
Yes, you must always find a way to balance. And some people can't. That's why people like us are available to help them sort that out. There must be hustle and bustle. Within that hustle and bustle, you must live life, okay? And when you find out what is causing your own imbalance by doing an assessment of your particular relationship, then you can find a way of coping and sorting things out.
Let's talk about child depression or depression in children.
Children, yeah.
Is it possible to have depression in children? I mean, don't they say those are the best days of your life? You don't have to pay for anything. You live off everybody and feed off everybody. How is it possible that you have depression as a child?
Yeah, that's the joke of it all. We just assume that because they are children, everything is fine. They don't have issues. Like rightly said, they live off everybody. Everything is provided for them. But they have their own developmental challenges. As they are growing up, you expect them to go to school. And these depression symptoms can usually be observed during the school, early school years. Talking about primary school, for instance. There's a lot of pressure. The child is expected to do well. And if the child is not doing well in school and nobody's checking, nobody's asking, how are you doing? There's bullying in school. The child is being bullied. Nobody's asking what's going on. Nobody's challenging those who are bullying the other children. And the child comes back home and there's no family support, okay? The child will break down because the challenges of growing up alone is enough. A child who has reached the menarche, supposed to develop breast or something, and maybe the girl is still flat-chested and others are teasing her. Psychologically, the child does not have a coping mechanism, So, and if she cannot go back home and say, "Mommy, this is happening to me," and the mother gives some kind of support, the child will lose it.
I hear you say puberty in that, but
yeah.
Let me ask for that. Is there a certain age where children are being depressed? And is there also a social class? We are seeing this. Children of the affluent or those from the not-so-rich? What are we seeing in Nigeria?
See, the thing is this. A child is a child. We have to understand that first. Whether from an affluent family, whether from the below-average family, a child is a child. And every child has specific needs. Okay? Sometimes when a child is from an affluent family, for instance, and the parents just assume by providing everything, in quotes, the child needs, the child will be fine. That's, a child's needs are not only monetary. A child's needs are emotional. There must be an emotional support for that child. If a child does not get emotional support, be it from an affluent family or from a poor family or from an average family, that child will suffer what a child should suffer when the child lacks certain things. So when we assume that because the child is from an affluent family, everything is fine. No, it is not fine.
I want us to explore bullying even more. Because the major reason, and we're going to do this while we'll go to a quick break and come back, the major reason why we have this, repetitive case of depression, it stems from, most of the time, bullying. And it's something we've not really addressed. And the very fundamental part is the schools don't even address it properly.
They don't even realize it's there.
I was treating a case recently, and I had to go to the school with the child, where the child that was being bullied and the mother of the child that was doing the bullying, was quite affluent. and the judgment was quite skewed as regards that. We'll talk about that when we come back from this break. We'll still have Pamela with us. All right, welcome back. Still a morning show here on the Rise News, and we've been talking to Pamela Udoka, a clinical psychologist and lead therapist at Family Wellness Psychological Center. Before we went to that break, I was asking a question.
Okay.
We've seen cases in Lagos that a child is bullying another child, but because she's from an affluent home, like the case I was reporting, when you report to the head teacher of the school, they tell you, don't touch her mother, my God, she's quite influential. She does this and X, Y, Z for us. She still gives us extra money after school fees. And they treat that case with kid gloves. And it keeps repeating itself in school.
It's so unfortunate that the school authorities are not taking responsibility. Because you treat one child differently from the other child. And all the children
all animals equal?
Yeah. No, they pay the same school fees. Okay. Just because another parent gives you extra, it doesn't make her own child more special than another child. There's a basic amount of fees every parent must pay. So why treat one child differently when you know that this other child is being bullied? And you expect that child that is bullied to do well in school? It's not possible. Because this child that is being bullied will now start repressing certain things. She can't discuss what is going on, can't disclose certain information. And of course, by the time the child starts withdrawing to self, keeping information, starts feeling, okay, I'm not as, I'm worthless, I'm not as useful as the other child. Well, why am I even in this school? There's no hope now. I can't even progress. All those thoughts start affecting the child. And that's when you start seeing symptoms of
Does this lead to suicide? We're talking about a case of a child that has attempted 3 suicides.
Yes.
At the age of 12?
Yes. By the time this occurred, the child was 11 plus, so she just turned 12. She has attempted suicide 3 times. In fact, it was a case of help. The mother sent me, I have this show on the radio that I host, so on Lagos Talks. And the mother sent me a message after, saying that I should help her. She doesn't know what to do. The school just called her. The daughter had attempted suicide 3 times, over a period of time. So I went to do an assessment, and I found out that this child in the school where she attends, there's a gang of girls who wants her to join their gang, and she refused, and of course they are bullying her. And in this school, all the girls in that gang wear a particular item of jewelry. So if the school authority is observant, they will notice that this is not part of the uniform. How come 10, 11, 12, 15, 20, 25 of you are wearing this piece of jewelry that is not part of the uniform? What's going on? But they are not observant, or they don't care.
So it's a case of negligence. But let me also
gross negligence.
Let me also bring this. We've seen recent rape allegations, the case of Busola Dakolo and the Koza pastor, and so many stories that have come up after then. You've touched on, children not having the support, and so they keep to themselves.
Yes.
Is this also responsible? Is this what we're seeing playing out now? We see people who have been molested when they were younger, but they don't speak about it until 20 years after. In the case of Busola, is that what we're seeing here?
You see, the case is this. Our culture, we have this culture of silence. We have this culture of stigma. We have this culture of bringing people to judgment, judging people. So people keep quiet because they don't know what will happen. They don't know if they say it, if they'll be stigmatized, if they will be judged, if they will be accused, or if they will, because when such things happen, one of the things that manifests is, you start feeling guilty. Okay, it's my fault. Maybe I shouldn't have been here. I shouldn't have dressed like this. I shouldn't have gone there. And then everything now boils down to you. So you just keep quiet. But the thing is this. When it gets to psychological issues, when it becomes a mental health issue, that's when it starts affecting you in several ways. I have not watched the Busola video. I have not watched it. But what I'm basing my reaction on professionally is the comments from Timi Dakolo. He posted something on Instagram and then brought out some symptoms, that he had observed in his wife, that she had, after she had, let me just confess, to him, to the incidents to him, that now he can understand the withdrawal, unexplained withdrawal, the mood swings, and there's another thing he said, the nightmares.
Okay.
And those three symptoms are major when it comes to psychological issues. When you are withdrawing to self, it's one of the symptoms of depression. Okay? You just want to keep to yourself. You don't want to socialize. You don't want to do anything. Even if your significant other tries to pull you out, it's for a while. You are happy, and then you go back to that mood. That's when you have bipolar. You are swinging from mania, that is excitement, to sadness. So he observed that swing. And then nightmares is a symptom of post-traumatic stress disorder. When you have had a traumatic event, you keep reliving those incidences, and they give you nightmares. So based on what Simi Dakolo wrote on his Instagram that I saw, professionally as a clinical psychologist, I know that something was traumatizing his wife. And for him to observe that, it means it was so debilitating that he had to see it.
How do we break this culture of silence?
We are doing that now. People are talking.
Is it enough?
Well, we have starting from somewhere. Okay, if somebody can come and say...
As of today,
yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, please. Okay. We have not seen any criminal case filed. The police hasn't intervened. It's just been protest and social media space.
At least we're starting from somewhere. Maybe, hopefully, sometime soon, the police
When will it happen?
Tomorrow.
When will it happen?
We're all hoping. I'm not a legal person. I'm talking from a professional point of view. And what also miffs me is people saying that Busola's story does not add up. And I ask, is there a professional or a memo that there's a procedure for rape, that maybe an ABCD of rape? Maybe I missed the memo. So somebody who is saying A, or maybe a lady is saying, oh, when I was raped, this didn't happen or that didn't happen. Or the guy is saying, oh, when I raped somebody, I didn't do ABCD. You know, so we have to be careful.
Yeah. Let's go back again from where we started, because Busola kept this for many years, and we're just trying to link it to childhood and perhaps depression.
Yes.
What other causative factors are responsible for depression in children? Why are we seeing depression in children?
See, if we want to look at what can cause depression, for instance, we can look at genetic factors. Okay. Is there anybody in the family that has suffered depression before? Okay? And before that, anybody who has a brain can suffer depression.
Anybody?
Anybody. You are predisposed because you have that organ, you can suffer depression. Now, a child who does not have support, who cannot voluntarily inform a significant other, a mother or a father, of what the child is going through, is already put at risk. Because if that child is sexually abused, if that child is bullied in school, there's nobody to refer to, there's nobody to talk to. There's nobody to stand up for that child. So the child is alone, as it were. Okay? So a lot of things get suppressed. But after a while, when you keep pressing, it will either implode or explode. One thing will happen. Okay? After a while, it's like, I don't care. Either maybe I commit suicide and I go, or I say it. Whatever happens, it happens. One or two things must happen. Okay? And then a child who is in school and is not doing well, and nobody's asking, why are you not doing well in this subject? What's happening? It's a problem. A child who was sleeping well before, and all of a sudden, either stays awake at night, not watching TV or playing on the phone or something, just having sleepless nights. A child who used to eat properly before suddenly starts losing appetite. We have to ask questions.
Okay. So asking questions and paying attention.
Yes, and paying attention and being observant and noticing that this child was behaving like this before and was not, and has changed behavior.
Unfortunately, we are out of time. Thank you so much, Pamela Udoka, a clinical psychologist, for coming on the show today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's my pleasure.
And that's been the show. I am Adesua Omoroan.
And I'm Rufai Oseni. Thanks for watching.